Hello everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, John Cartwright, and I'm joined by my co-host, Derek Bittner. And there's a very special guest with us today, Skye Bennett, the voice of Pyra and Mithra. Hey, Skye.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. It's been 2 years since the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Can you believe that?
No, not really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's been longer for you, though, because you must have done your lines the year before.
I did, beginning of 20... When did it come out? 2017, yeah, so it would have been the beginning of 2017.
Wow. I'm sure people are hearing your voice for the first time outside of Pyra and Mithra's voice, and they're probably thinking, that's not Pyra. Pyra is not British. So, you were brought up by American parents, right?
Yeah, so my whole family's American except myself and my sisters. My parents weirdly met in London, even though they're both from overseas. My dad moved here because he was an archaeologist and moved over here, I believe, to work at the Museum of London. And my mum just always felt drawn to London, so came over when she was like 13 or something.
Mm-hmm. Does your American voice come from them, or have you always just sort of switched between the two?
Yeah, well, I think if you're sort of taught how to speak by two Americans, you do sort of end up stuck with a bit of a twang and a knack at the accent itself.
My American voice sounds terrible. I always go like, hey, what do you do? Hey.
Hey.
That said, I do find the British are much better at doing American voices than Americans are at British voices.
I've never heard your British voice, Derek. Can you give
I've never attempted because I don't want to embarrass myself or everybody else in this room. But no, it's like most Americans would never guess Hugh Laurie was a Brit based on House. It's just that sort of thing. It just naturally slips into the American voice.
Yeah, it's hard to understand why. Like, maybe it's just, I don't know. I think a lot of television that we get over here is American. So maybe it's just because we grow up around, like, American television.
Sure,
more American television than Americans grow up around British television.
Mm-hmm. I was looking at your Twitter page, Skye, and I noticed that you and I are the exact same age. I think we're both 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you must have been 22 or 21 when you voiced Pyra.
21.
Wow. And so was that your first voice acting role?
It was, yeah.
So you were 21 when you got your first role, and it was a Nintendo game.
I know, yeah. It was kind of wild.
makes me feel like so unaccomplished in comparison to you.
Oh God, no, man! This is you're doing so well with all of your stuff, your YouTube following and things. I kind of. It's annoying when actors say this, but I did kind of fall into it, and I enjoyed it way more than I sort of thought I would. Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get your role as Pyro and Mithra?
I've been acting, just generally acting since I was 9. But my agent just introduced me to my current voice agent, probably mid 2016, or maybe even no, it would have been sooner than that. I think, yeah, maybe the beginning of 2016. It was just an audition that I got, and I originally auditioned for more than just Pyro and Mithra. I auditioned for a couple of characters. I can't remember which ones they were now. I think Poppy might have been one of them. I don't know, but I just got the job.
Poppy's such a great
Make
character.
it sound so simple.
Yeah. I think Poppy made me cry more than any other character in Xenoblade. There's some great Poppy moments.
Really stunning voice actor, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So did you have to do a voice for Poppy when you auditioned for all the characters?
I mean, yeah, I would have had to, yeah. Would have been a robot voice, I guess. I wish I could remember. And Pandoria was one of them, and I remember they asked me to sort of do like a annoying kind of up-tempo, like fun person, which was a fun character. And actually, I remember Pandoria was the character I wanted most. But Pyra Mythra, like, in my opinion, my favorite characters, but maybe I'm biased.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting the lead role, so.
Exactly.
How did you get the acting bug to start at 9?
So my first dream was to be an Olympic figure skater, and then and I've been skating since I was about 4. And then didn't realize how much work it would be to actually compete, because I did compete when I was younger. I think my last competition I was like 14 or 15. But then I thought, I really just love the performance of it, like putting on a dance and like performing for the judges. And I could jump high, but that was about it. I was really wobbly, and my hands were always like this. They should have been like this, and I wasn't really a competitive sort of type of skater. So I thought, I'm satisfied with Disney on Ice or something. But there was a lady there who kids were at a local stage school, which was just like a Saturday thing, and she just saw that I sort of had an interest in performing, and said, I can introduce you to my friend who's an agent at this school that my grandchildren go to. And so I went and got accepted into this thing, and so it was like a sort of Saturday dance school that had an agency attached, and I just started getting auditions, and everything just kind of followed.
I think you've been in quite a lot of TV as well. I looked at your IMDb page, and you were in Torchwood. One of the stars of Xenoblade 1 was Clara Oswald in Doctor Who. So I guess there's like the Doctor Who universe has a bunch of Xenoblade characters in.
Like we're magnetized to each other.
I also remember watching Friday Night Dinner, which is a British sitcom. And I wasn't really watching properly. I think I was doing something else at the time. And I heard your voice in the background. I was like, wait, that's Pyrrha. I looked at the screen, it was just like Skye's on there.
Yeah. That was a really fun job. That was a few years ago now, I think. Yeah, probably around the same time, to be honest, 2016. Late 2016.
Mm-hmm. Before we get too deep, actually, I want to get into a bit of a warm-up game. So, let me go. Derek has no idea what the rules are here either, so let me run through the rules. So Derek is a self-proclaimed Xenoblade expert. He says every day that he knows everything about the series. Cool. So you got to prove him wrong. Liar. So in this game, Skye, I have some lines that I want you. You're the host of this game, actually, Skye. So I've got some lines I want you to read out, and I want you to throw Derek off with these lines. So these lines are all quotes from Pyra and Mithra, but I don't want you just to read them in those voices. I want you to throw them off and put in any voice you want. It can be your voice, it can be Pyra's voice, it can be Mithra's voice. But the lines do come from a specific character. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste a line in, and I want you to read it for Derek, and he has to guess who said that line. Was it Pyra or Mithra?
I'm not even sure if I'll be able to remember. Oh,
That's okay. I mean, that makes it even better.
I've started glowing. I'm a bit self-conscious.
I believe that's Pyra.
Yeah. That is indeed Pyra. Okay, line number 2.
I'm picking up off of like two years since I played. I haven't replayed the game in a while, so...
This one's quite easy as well. Of course I wouldn't. I don't have a knife.
I'm pretty sure that's Mithra.
That's actually Pyra.
Really? Oh, wow. I'm used to Mithra being the more aggressive one, so I was like, I thought that was after a threat.
I think it was a cheeky knife.
might have been that, or it might have been had to do with her cooking.
Maybe.
Oh, right.
Right, line 3.
Get out! Interloper! Monster!
I'm going to say Mithra. I think this is the scene where Rex wakes up next to her.
It is.
Nailing these. Wait, yeah, you didn't get the last one.
I got 2 or 3. I'm 2/3 good.
Line 4.
The tea here is lovely.
I think that's Pyra.
Yeah. I could feel the British Pyra there too.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is. Maybe we'll get out of this alive after all.
I'm gonna say that's Mithra. That seems a little bit more.
I think you're right.
Cocky. Yeah.
It is. I think it's one of her, like, when you finish a battle, I think she says that or something.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one.
We've got a couple more.
Cool. Not what you expected? I'm cute as hell, so who cares?
That has to be Mithra.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
I think we have 4 more.
Our emotions are in tune, Rex. Okay.
Definitely Pyra.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think I got a bit of a preview of your poppy voice there for a moment.
Yeah. And think you can take me? Don't forget me.
I think Mithra?
No, it's the soldiers.
Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't realize she took. Oh gosh. You told me Pyra or Mithra.
Yeah,
like
I know.
I don't remember that from either of them. And then you said from the soldiers. Like, wait, did Skye voice the soldiers too?
That'd be impressive range if you could voice
That
the
would be.
soldiers.
Burning sword.
I think that has to be Pyra.
Uh-huh. All right. And the final line.
Final line. Don't worry, I'll protect you from the scary dark.
I think it has to be Mithra.
You're right. I think you
Yeah.
got all but one there, Derek. Oh, all but two. You didn't get the
Oh,
think
but
you can take me one.
I missed the soldier bit. That's like because I had my mind set on Pyra and Mithra, but
Excuses.
Pretty good though.
not bad for 2 years since I've played. But
Yeah.
you definitely seem like you would have had fun with all the Foley for Pyra and Mithra, all the like
Mhm.
battle.
Oh,
grunts and
yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
I love how you even
Yeah,
got the
those
tones
little
like
lines.
exactly right for all those lines. Like especially the I'm cute as hell one. I think that was like exactly how you say it in the game.
Yeah, probably.
Do you remember how many takes you had to do for these lines? Because this is a huge script. Did they go for the first one a lot of the time, or did you have to keep going through them?
It depends, really. It depends on the day, I guess. Most of the time, we just kind of barreled through, but there were a couple of mostly like cutscene stuff that we kind of spent more time with. 'Cause, I don't know, they were a bit more sort of dialogue heavy and setting a tone and stuff like that. So, but they're kind of, but also I suppose, and also we'd spend more time on the cutscenes because we had to fit a very specific sort of animation. Like the lips would be moving because they were already animated, so you'd have to really get like exactly right in terms of the lip sync, or you'd at least try to get as close as you could in terms of the lip sync and length of the line as well. But stuff like the heart to hearts and the little sort of battles screens and stuff, you had more free reign with, and it took less time because you don't see anyone's face when you're
Right. That sounds really tough to match Japanese dialogue, because I guess a lot of it probably is literally translated as well. Did they ever have to like change the lines to make it more natural?
No, yeah, they did change a lot of the lines to make it more natural in English, because Japanese sort of structures of sentences are wildly different to British sentence structures. So, you know, they'll either spend a long time saying something, you know, that you can say in a few words in English, or something that we usually use a lot of words for, they'll summarize in one or two, you know, so they really have to kind of fit in, you know, the gaps they were given. Which was
Did they give you any room to did they give you any room to improv at all with your battle lines and whatnot, or did they have you stick pretty rigidly to their script?
Sometimes, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty collaborative, yeah.
Did you get to actually meet any of the cast? Because obviously, I think most voice actors sort of do their lines on their own.
Yeah.
Did you see anybody?
It was the same with this. We did our lines alone. And if the lines were pre-recorded, then they would play the dialogue over to you, and you would sort of respond as if they were in the room. And I bumped into a few people in the waiting room. Like, as my session would end, someone else's would begin. So I'd only ever see people in passing. They'd be like, "Hi, I'm Skye. I'm playing Pyra Mythra." Yeah, sometimes, but we never worked together.
That's a shame, because there's the voices in this game are all really, really varied, especially Nia. Nia has a great voice, so it would have been great to like, bounce off that, but I guess that's just
no, it would have been wonderful. The only other job I had where I was able to bounce off someone was my game from this year, Draugen, which was so nice, because when you're doing something that's very dialogue heavy, like Draugen or Xenoblade, the difference is huge. You know, when you're actually in the room with somebody and you get to do the scene with them. Just the way they did it, I think. They had so much to do, it was probably just easier to get everyone in individually.
Mm-hmm. And how long did it take you to record the entire script?
I think we were doing it on and off for about a month.
For a month?
Go in maybe several times a week, which is quite long for games. Usually you're only doing it for 2 days or 3 days. But yeah, this was a long one.
So was that to and Torna, or was Torna a separate?
No,
recording?
Torna was a separate block. Torna happened late 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. But yeah,
together.
and it wasn't as long. It was like 2 weeks, I think. Or was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it didn't feel as long.
Torna was relatively short compared to 2, so I wouldn't imagine it would take that long. What about like the DLC they had when they added like Shulkin and Fiora? Was that another recording session, or did you record that at the very beginning?
That was Torna, right? Yeah.
Was that? I think
it was around the same time as Torna.
Oh, maybe,
Yeah.
I guess it was then.
Yeah, we recorded it at the same time.
Okay.
As Torna, not as Xenoblade.
Did you get to meet Adam Howden? Because I know Adam is well beloved in the Xenoblade community.
Yeah, he is. Sadly, I didn't. I've spoken to him briefly on Twitter, but yeah, I've never spoken to him. Yeah. I've met a couple of people at... This is really embarrassing because I've met so many people at the studio that we recorded it at. They've done a Christmas party like in the past, I think every year, but I've only gone the last 2 years. And I've met a lot of Xenoblade people there. But you meet a lot of people at those parties.
It's a big cast.
So, I'm pretty sure I haven't met Adam. But yeah, also you drink a lot of champagne.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I guess when you were recording all of your dialogue, was it all done linear, like in a linear fashion, or would you record certain scenes ahead of each other?
You would ordinarily record linear, yeah, but if we were getting bored of doing the story, the director would be like, shall we just do some heart-to-heart now? Shall we, like, screams?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, yeah, switch it up. So, but yeah, usually we'd start the day with that part of the main storyline, and then on the other half of the day would be like...
Are screams easy to do? Because whenever I like raise my voice for something, my voice just goes for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Well, it's not helpful for me either, because I've got problems with my lungs and throat, so if I scream too much, I'm just like fucked for the rest of the week. So it's difficult, yeah, but you're not really doing it for that long.
Mm-hmm.
And you're only really doing it for like 2 sessions, if that. Like you'll spend, I don't know, half an hour screaming and grunting and running and doing sort of movement and stuff, so it's not too bad. You just have a lot of soothers and tea.
Reading it literally, were you trying to follow along with what was actually happening in the story, or did you just give up and like, I have no idea?
Oh yeah, because also I was only given what I was in, which was most of it, but there was that part where Pyrrha's not in the game like 3/4 of the way through or whatever, where when I was playing it I had no idea what was going on. I was totally lost, and then when Pyrrha comes back at the end, I remember recording that and being like, where are we? Like, what happened? This time that I've lost. Because it's such a big script, they don't really bother giving the whole script away. They just kind of give you what you're meant to read. And obviously, like, voiceover scripts don't have the same kind of subtext and establishing sort of context as, other scripts, like face acting scripts. So, yeah, it could get confusing. But thankfully, our director was on the ball, and if I got confused, he'd be able to tell me what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And you streamed the entire game on your Twitch, both 2 and Torna. And I noticed a few times it did bring you to tears. And so I guess a lot of the story was like genuinely a surprise to you.
Even the stuff that I was expecting, I forgot about it until it happened. So I was like, oh, this bit, shit. Now I'm emotional. Because also, you know, you get as engrossed with everyone else's acting. I just forgot that I was listening to myself after a while. You do get used to it pretty quickly. And yeah, you get engrossed in everyone else's performance. That's really what was astounding to me. It wasn't so much like what I was doing. It was what everyone else was doing. And, you know, the way they animated it and, you know, made it look great and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And you've played games before Xenoblade. I think you've mentioned that you've...
Oh, yeah. I've been playing games since as long as I can remember.
Hmm. So is this usually your kind of genre, or do you typically go for other kinds of games?
No, yeah. I really know much of the Nintendo world. I didn't even really play Mario stuff when I was a kid. My main thing... Like, I mostly got hooked when I was playing Mass Effect teenager. Mass Effect and Assassin's Creed, Lara Croft, kind of the sort of big budget open world RPG stuff. I really like that. Really looking forward to Cyberpunk next year. Fallout, that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Xenoblade's combat system's a lot more complex than those kind of games. Was it
I'm used to
get
just
into?
pressing RT and just getting on with my life.
I mean, I play games for a living, and even I struggled to get into Xenoblade 2's combat system for a while. Like, how was it? Just how did you find it?
I mean, I got used to it eventually, but I was completely confused in the beginning. Because also the Switch controllers, like, I'm used to pressing, like, you know, that button, not that button, to do anything. So, like, you know, A is wrong to me.
Yeah.
So
nobody can agree on where the buttons should be.
Yeah. So getting used to that was almost as tough. And then working out the mechanics. I still, even at the very end of the stream, I still don't think even then that I'd really worked it out.
No one does.
It's a bit complex. I did a whole video like kind of explaining like how it actually works out and trying to explain to people, because I think they do a good job of slowly expanding upon what you can do.
Yeah.
But it definitely gets confusing.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I think we can get on to our questions from our patrons who have submitted a bunch of questions for you, Skye. And our first question comes from Dylan H. Pierce, who says, did you feel working on Xenoblade was a fun experience compared to other projects, and did you enjoy voicing Pyra or Mithra more, and why?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have anything to compare it to, so I was just having a blast. And looking back on it, now that I've done a lot more games, it was definitely uniquely epic, I guess. And there was a lot to do. It was like good boot camp, because it was my first ever game, and the hours were long and demanding. But I really loved it, and it sort of means going into any other job. It's a breeze. So and Pyro and Mithra, I really enjoyed voicing Mithra, I think, over Pyra, because she just had more sort of, her dialogue was just a bit, you know, it was a lot more
a bit more fun,
more forceful.
Yeah, I think as a person, I related to Mithra a lot more. But Pyra was sweet in another way, you know. It was nice to record Pyra's lines, because it gave me something else to do, you know. Kind of the whole point. When you're an actor, you want to do as many different things as you possibly can. So, yeah, it's cool to do both.
I'll let you take the next question, Derek.
All right, this one comes from Henry Richard, who says, if you had to select a favorite character that isn't Pyra or Mithra, who would you choose and why?
Zeke's great. Yeah. Zeke's great. Morag.
Yeah.
We did have another question relating to Morag. Someone called Jamester445 said, is Morag the best girl, or who is the bestest girl?
Oh, Morag for sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
Morag's fantastic. And, poor Nia.
I know, she's great, but, I mean, she doesn't wear a big-ass coat and hat. Like, cool. You do you, boo. Or I'm going to kick someone in the face.
Pretty much.
All right. Sean Davis says, how does one get started voice acting for a living?
I mean, the way I did it is kind of different for anyone who just wants to do voice acting, because I kind of went down a line of other people to do it. I think, the first thing my agent told me to do was set up a voice reel. So, like, if you want to get into voice acting, I say practice accents. The only reason I get the work that I do really is because my American accent. Most of my work I do is with an American accent. I think accents are super important, especially if you're in the UK. Make sure you've got a really rock solid American accent. Get your reel done. Quite simple. You can do it yourself from home, and then I guess just send it off. Take some classes. It's annoying because this whole industry is just purely who you know. It's true what they say. You just have to sort of make yourself known. Don't be afraid to sort of take up space, I guess, but not in like a dickhead way. Just like be like, I have something I can offer. Like, I've got a great voice and I can act. And that's usually enough for people you enjoy to work with as well. So yeah.
I'd say that's the same for us as well, for getting into our jobs. It is essentially just who you know.
Yeah.
Or if you don't know anybody, just get yourself out there as much as possible until the right people start noticing.
Exactly, yeah. And do something on YouTube, like be proactive. Like, if you were into voice acting, I don't know, collaborate with an animator and do something online. You never know what could come of that. There's so many people doing it now, unless it's you sort of making an active role in your own life, in your own career. It's going to be very difficult for you, I think. Yeah, being proactive is the sort of first step to achieving success.
I have a couple voice actor friends, and I think the big lesson they all take is get used to rejection.
Oh my god, if I had £1 for every time I paid for a train ticket to London and I got nothing back from it, I would be a rich woman.
That's hard to believe.
No, I've spent 15 years doing this now. Well, how old am I? I'm 24. It's no secret that I'm shit at math. 15 years about. And I've been rejected upwards of 1,000 times. I would put money on it. Like, I've been rejected so often. It's just part of the game. And
they're fools. They're all fools, Skye. Seriously though, I mean, you've had basically the starring role in a Nintendo game. It's crazy how people can't just instantly hire you on the spot.
Oh, that's sweet.
She'll be the next Troy Baker, just appearing in everything.
Thank you. I don't know. Yeah, there's just a lot of people doing it. There's a lot of people.
Very competitive.
It's a hard game. Do you want to take the next one, Derek?
Yes, I'm sorry. It was from Gentleman Gamer. Wants to know, how did you end up developing the voices you ended up with for Pyra, Mythra, and spoilers? Is trying to find the nuance to a character in this and other voice acting roles a long or difficult process, or are some characters much easier to figure out than others?
Yeah, some are easier to figure out than others. I think with Pyro and Mithra, because they have scenes together as well, you need to at least try and have distinct voices for each. And I knew that Pyro was meant to be this sort of sugary sweet, classic anime heroine that is supposed to be the one that everyone is in love with. And then Mithra was similar, but I guess just more abrasive and was kind of, I guess, not everything Pyra isn't, but I don't know, maybe everything Pyra is afraid to accept. And likewise with Mithra, that's how I kind of saw it. They're two sides of the same coin, but, if you think about yourself as a person, there's sides to you that you keep to yourself. And I think that is the same for each of them. It's just they're faced with each other on a daily basis. So So yeah, I guess I just tried to see it as they're the same person, but they're, yeah.
Would you record Pyro and Mithra separately, or would you just kind of, I guess, just bounce between the two voices?
Yeah, again, it would depend. At first, I think we did it separately, where I'd do the whole scene as Pyrrha, and then I'd go back and listen myself being Pyrrha, and then react as Mithra for the rest of the scene. But then later on down the line, once I got the hang of it, I would just go down the scene, swapping between.
Our next one comes from Peter Salaba, and they say, which character felt more natural to voice act, and why? Thank you for your amazing work, Skye.
Oh, thank you. Well, Mithra, as I said, I kind of related to her a bit more than Pyra.
Was that, like, when it came to the voice, would Mithra come out easier than Pyrrha, or would it both come out
Yeah, usually. Well, it depends as well, because I've sort of pitched her voice quite low. So by the end, I just kept getting lower and lower sometimes, and I have to be like, God, I need to pick her back up. You know, I think pitch-wise, because that's another thing, I pitched Pyra's voice higher than my actual voice. I pitched Mithra's voice lower than my actual voice, so trying to not deviate too far one way or the other because my range isn't that good was a challenge. So, yeah.
I think it took me a little bit to realize that, you know, Pyra and Mythra weren't voiced by two different actresses. They just had similar sounds. So good job in that regard.
Very much.
Kirsten wants to know, are Pyra and Mythra characters you would happily reprise in future projects or anything else related to the Xenoblade series?
Well, definitely. I mean, they meant so much to me. They've kind of changed everything from voicing Pyra and Mythra. I was able to create the Patreon and finally pursue music, which is my kind of real dream. And you know, I owe basically everything to what that job then bore, I guess. So yeah, definitely, because I know that it means a lot to the community as well, and you know, they mean a lot to me, so I definitely reprise the role.
It speaks volumes that 2 years later, you still get comments on your Twitter about Pyro and Mithra. People are just so attached to these characters.
Yeah, it's very cool. I've never really been a part of it, so it's really humbling, and I'm happy to be a part of sort of thing.
We try to avoid questions with this word in, but if Nintendo approached you and asked if you wanted to do Smash with Pyro and Mithra, would you be up for that?
I would, yeah.
That's kind of as big as it gets for like Nintendo crossovers.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to play with Pyra and Mithra and Smash, but I think it'd be pretty cool if like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition got DLC that added Pyra and Mithra in. So that's sort of like what they do with 2. I think that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So, I guess we'll see.
Okay. So James says, what did you think of some of the weirder parts of the script?
Interesting. Not totally unexpected, because I knew what I was going into when I looked at them, you know, the first time I was like, okay, I get it. All right.
Saw the character designs and went, whoa.
Yeah. It's just the way it is in that world. But yeah, I mean, awkward, but the way that I justified it in my head was, this isn't the only female representation that's going on in this game. It's just one of them, and there are, and even they are interesting and faceted, blah blah. They just are blow up dolls. That's it. It's fine. So yeah, I kind of, yeah, it was just, and everyone in the studio was, yeah, we'll just get through it, you know.
I mean,
it was fine. Yeah, it's all good fun at the end of the day. If it was the only thing about them that they looked the way they did and they were kind of vanilla, then that would suck. But that's not the case.
I don't think people would gravitate to the characters as much otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. It's boring to just, you know, spend time with a character that's like flaccid.
Yeah.
and only purpose is, appearance based.
Sure.
I mean, I did have when I was playing for the first time, I did have of course they're going to have a hot springs scene. Of course they're going to have that. But even then, they found the way to make the hot springs actually worth something.
Yeah.
With what they
there was
teased.
some kind of substance in every moment, I think. Blushy Crushy could have done without. But,
yeah, sure.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But everything else, there was, something that you could justify about it.
I noticed lately that you recorded a fan message. Or someone asked you to record a message from one of their friends, I think. Do you get that very often?
Not as often now as I used to. When the Twitch was happening, it happened a lot because obviously people comment and then they'll send bits and ask you, and then you've got that thing where but they invested, so you kind of have to.
Yeah.
And it had been so long since someone reached out, and also a patron reached out. So I was like, yeah, of course. You've contributed to this being, one of the best years of my life. So of course this is the least I can do is to be a friend. And it meant a lot to me to be able, because I heard that he felt a lot better afterwards. It doesn't take long. It's no trouble for me. It's just obviously when that came out, loads of other people got in touch on Twitter, and
of course
it's just a case of it does end up taking time, and it's like if you have a kid and you let it have chocolate for dinner one night, every single night afterwards it'll be like, can I have chocolate for dinner?
Like, we're gonna test the boundaries here. Let's see when she breaks.
Were the fan requests always wholesome like that, or would you sometimes get some weird ones?
No, some were really that I just had to block people because they'd ask shit there was one where someone messaged me and was like, he led with a story about how his health wasn't right or something. I don't know your life, it could be true, but the fact that he ended with, I've just felt so lonely and I'm feeling really shit, and I just really want you to record Pyrrha saying I love you and I've always loved you and I want to have sex with you and I want to rip your clothes off. And I was like, shut the fuck up with your sob story.
Oh no.
Say shit like that to you. Fuck off, man. That really
that's
because I was like, I feel terrible for you. I feel because I also was saying, I get it, man. I have CF. I've been in and out of hospital. I get it. And then so it's been weird sometimes.
Hopefully that's as bad. Hopefully that's as bad as it gets.
It was. Yeah. That was it, really. It happened a couple other times, but there was never a lead up like that. Which I'm fine with, because I'm like, you're weird. Okay, fine, go away.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to I feel bad for you. It's like, oh, you're a creep. Okay.
Yeah, legit. He pulled at the heartstrings. He really tried. Anyway.
Do you want to take the next question, Derek?
Sure. This comes from Mark, and he has actually two questions. So the first one is, does the visual design, which we kind of got into, of a character significantly affect how you voice them? Because they mentioned how all your characters look and sound very different in spite of all being voiced by you. So did you look at them and decide on a voice, or did they sort of direct you to a certain voice, I guess is the question.
To be honest, I was surprised that I got those jobs because I'm clearly not anything like either of them physically. So I wasn't, I guess it must just be how your own voice sounds completely different to you than how everyone else hears it.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that my voice was kind of just shrill and annoying. So when I heard that I was getting this job to play two sort of heroines, and that they're hot and they're powerful, I was like, okay. But I mostly focused on their personalities, I guess. And I thought if their personality is is obvious in how they sound, then it will work with how they look. I think if you add sort of any voice to a character, granted it matches, I guess. Well, I don't know. Again, anyway, then it will sound right if the personality is represented. So that's kind of what I'm about going in.
I think it's a good idea to focus more on the personality and who cares how they look.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go down to Ethan Gomez, who says, what was your favourite scene to record in Xenoblade Chronicles 2? Now, of course, you had a lot of scenes. I'm sure it's going to take you a little while to think of your absolute favourite, but anything stand out?
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun to do the bedroom scene where she woke up and she was like, God, get out. That was really fun. And the beginning, the first ever scene was really, because it was our first day, and it was new to me, and it just sticks out in my head as an important scene. You know.
As far as Mark's second question, he wanted to know, what are your favorite, some of your favorite examples of voice acting in other games, especially where voice actors bring characters to life?
That's a really cool question. Last of Us, Ellie and Joel.
Absolutely.
Garrus, Mass Effect. Ezio, Assassin's Creed 2. I really like the new person they chose for the reboot of the Lara Croft games, which is good. Oh, I love Detroit Become Human. The acting in that.
Okay.
Yeah, great choices.
I'm sure there's more.
There's so many great performers out there now.
Alright, let's go for this one, from Joe. Joe says, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I purchased this game and the DLC day one, but still had not found the time to play it. Can you convince me to place it on my Can you convince me to place it at the first spot on my to play list? So can you sell this game on Joe?
Oh wow, okay.
He's bought it but can't find the time.
If you can't find the time, I mean, time is something you need for the game. But also, if you just kind of roll through it, like, you know, it's easy to pick up and put down because there's so much else to do outside of, like, the main storyline. But what I would say is, if you are into beautifully animated, weird for me to say this, but well acted,
it's true, so say it.
Interesting story, emotional story, funny story, then you go for it. I don't really play games like this. This was my first ever JRPG, and I probably wouldn't have played it if I weren't in it. And we weren't very, you know, doing it for a good. But I really actually was surprised how much I enjoyed it outside of, you know, the performance stuff. I genuinely would have enjoyed it had I not, like, I don't know, like, had I just played it because it was on my game. Like, it's a really.
Are you going to go on to the Xenoblade 1 re-release that comes out?
I was thinking I would, yeah, because this year we did Draugen and we raised money for the Mental Health Foundation, and it's been nice to have a little project every year where we'll do a stream and pick another charity to you know, give 50% of our profits to. And also next year I'm releasing an EP and really going a bit harder at music. And with the Patreon and anything I can scrape together, stream would probably be the only way I'd be able to do it justice and do it properly. So yeah, 100% want to do another long stream, because the first game is quite long as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd love to do that.
You'll have fun with the connections to Xenoblade 2.
I'm sure I will. Yeah.
Hi, do you want to finish off with just one more patron question, Derek?
Sure. I mean, since you're into music, I think this one makes sense. From Jeroen7X wants to know, do you have a favorite song from Xenoblade 2?
Yes, and there's a weird story that I've literally just learned about. So there's a girl, Jen Bird, who is a local musician or I think she's sort of relatively local to my area. And she's in a band called Tomorrow Bird. And I only found out like a few days ago that she did the final song, or the like big song for Xenoblade 2. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I've met you, I think maybe twice at my best friend puts on sort of open mics and showcases at a local pub, and I think I've seen Tomorrow Bird there like twice. It's completely unrelated to anything voice acting or Xenoblade, like ever at all. And I was like, this is so, because I think I just went on her Twitter or something, and it was in her description. I forget how I got there. But yeah, the Xenoblade game was in her description as well. What?
Is that the credits song, or is that also the I forget? Is it Burning Souls that plays?
I'm gonna look it up right now. Can't remember. Singer on Nintendo's Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Oh, so she doesn't actually say
which one it is, but
yeah, one of them.
Wow. Well, I guess this is probably a good
really
time to
cool.
mention your music, Skye, because this is kind of your passion at the moment. And I've listened to a lot of your songs, and they're all fantastic.
Oh,
and
thank you.
if any Xenoblade fans are listening, if you're ever curious about what it would sound like if Xenoblade had a musical number, then listen to some of Skye's songs, because you can hear Pyra and Mithra in there. So if you're a big fan of Xenoblade, check them out, because it's fun to hear that, but it's also just stay for the great music, though.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of writing music since I was about 15, but I only sort of really decided to do something with it in mid 2017, kind of around the time we were streaming the game. You know, because at the time, I've spoken a little bit about this on Twitter, but my health was sort of on the decline, and I don't know, I'd not felt good for a long time. So it's kind of in those moments in life, I think people turn to their passions too. And so, I just started writing music, and fuck it, I'm doing a stream, there's some people who are interested in what I can create. Because at the time I was doing short films here and there, because I thought I can do, I can make movies with 50 quid, and quickly found that that's not entirely possible. But you can make music quite cheaply, and so I thought, maybe I'll start with that, and then when I'm 30, I'll finally, create my show. But I started writing and releasing music, and it went weirdly well, weirdly quickly, and I just amazing now after doing it.
So where can people find your music?
Anywhere really, if you've got Spotify or iTunes, or kind of everywhere. I've got 3 songs out at the moment, and a new one coming.
And your YouTube channel has not only the Xenoblade archives, but also quite a few of your recording sessions on there. Yeah,
so I've earlier in November I released 3 live sessions of me doing 2 covers. Do It With a Rock Star by Amanda Palmer, Skinned by a hugely underrated band called Blind Melon, and then my own song, The Information Age. I did the live session of that, posted 3 of them up. And so those are on there, and my music video, which I released in February, which is about and it was a one-take music video with dancing and all my friends, and a piano that was impossible to move. I don't know why we gave ourselves a task to move a huge upright piano in the middle of a one-take video, and then try and skillfully move it out of the camera frame while my friend Amelia had to pass me a rose as they were pushing the piano back, and I had to try and blindly grab it while I was lip syncing to my song. It was so complicated. But we managed to do it, and it came out great. I'm really proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's really
But
great.
I mean, it sounds great. The videos look great. I really do urge anyone listening to check out her YouTube channel or listen to the music anywhere. So they're just great renditions.
Thank you, man. Thank you very
No
much.
worries.
Multi-talented actress, voice actor, ice skater, singer, film director.
I wish I was skating, man. My butt is not the way it used to be. I tried to. I was like, oh, because sort of lapping a rink is like sprinting down the road for like 6 miles. It's so much work, and it hurts.
I can't skate at all, so my butt would just be bruised. So.
All right, to close off, we have one more game. This one, though, Skye and Derek are going to be competing for the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 trivia.
Oh boy.
And
Oh my God,
I'm pretty confident I don't know the answers to these. So good luck. The multiple choice.
How did you make the quiz if you don't know the answer?
This was submitted by a patron.
Oh, okay.
It was submitted by Jurion7X. So, question 1. How many Titans do you travel on in Xenoblade Chronicles 2? Is it A, 6, B, 7, C, 8, or D, 9?
Gosh, I gotta think on the map.
Oh my God. So that's basically like how many places you visit, right?
Pretty much,
Pretty
yeah.
much, yeah. What was the lowest one?
7, 8, or 9.
Yeah, it's 6, 7, 8, 9.
6, 7, 8, 9. I'm gonna say 7. Yeah, I'm gonna say agree and say 7.
Both of you are wrong. It's actually 8 Titans in the game.
Ah, dang it! I was trying to count.
6 or 7. What are the Titans again?
I'm not sure. I wish they told us in the quiz. I'm not sure myself. Alright,
cool.
question 2. How many rare blades are there in the game, not counting DLC blades? Are there 36, 38, 40, or 42?
I couldn't say. I
have no idea.
Yeah.
40.
I'll go with 36.
It's just in between. 38.
Oh, of course.
Oh.
I mean, it'd be impressive if we get any of these, because they're all pretty out there. But this one might actually be an interesting one. Which 2 characters are voiced by the same actor or actress? Malos or Animalthus, Jin and Adam, Mikal and Rock, or Laura and Petroka?
I'd say Skye has the advantage on this one, but I'm not sure.
I'll say them one more
What are
time.
they
So it's
again?
Malos and Amalthus, Jin and Adam, Mikal and Rock, or Laura and Petroka?
I'm gonna go with Mikal and Rock because that just seems like the biggest gap between the two. Because Rock sounds like a bird.
I know. I've met the guy who voiced Malos, and he's never mentioned him. But maybe that's just because it never came up.
Maybe.
Whatever. Fuck it. Malos and Amalthus.
Okay.
Is that wrong?
Derek actually gets a point here. It is indeed Mikal and Rock.
No way.
Yeah.
I remember Mikal being a little higher pitched, and I was like, okay, that's kind of like Rock. It's like similar enough that it might work. I don't know.
All right, question 4. This, I don't know if you'll know this guy. We'll see. Who voices Pyrrha in Japan? Is it?
Oh.
Is it Shino? Let's see if I can pronounce these. Is it Shino Shimoji, Hitomi Awada, Shizuka Ito, or Yuri Nigochi?
Is it Hitomi?
What do you think, Derek?
I feel bad. I don't want to say it the same as Skye because I feel like she's probably right and didn't know this better. What were the others, John, other than Hitomi?
I just feel like it was a H name.
So it's. I'll say the first name. So it's Shino, Hitomi, Shizuka, and Yuri.
I'll go with Shizuka.
I think
It is Shino.
Oh. Who did that? Is she another voice actress from somewhere else?
I'd imagine so. I'm not entirely sure if Pyra and Mythra are voiced by different actresses because they just say Pyra in this.
Oh, maybe Mithra is voiced by a Hitomi. I don't know.
Maybe.
That might have been the trick question
I feel
part
like
of
I
that.
saw a H name, but maybe that was something else.
I could believe it, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Alright, well, let's do 2 more questions here. Skye, right now we have Derek in the lead by 1. So you gotta get 2 of these correct and you'll win.
Oh my
1
God.
correct and you'll equalize. Okay, let's choose one. Let's go with this one. How many species of enemies are there in Xenoblade Chronicles 2? Are there 91, 95, 100, or 104?
104.
Same. Go for the...
It's the lowest one, 91.
Oh.
Alright, so 1 more chance to equalize.
There's a
And
lot.
This is quite a random one. What firmware update is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 currently on? Is it 1.52, 2.0, 2.02, or 2.03?
2.02.
2.03.
Skye gets a point! And we actually do have more questions. I'll give you 1 more chance to win.
Okay.
Alright.
Alright, time.
So, how many heart-to-hearts are in Xenoblade Chronicles 2? 46, 58, 64, or 76?
I'm trying to remember how many. There's so many rare blades.
Is it 48?
What was the other? What were the other options, John?
So, 46, 58, 64, or 76?
76.
It's 64.
Oh.
And even though you 2 equalised, though, we're going to give Skye the winning point because she was in the game and you weren't, Derek. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
Won't lose because we both sucked at that game.
That's a level of knowledge that I just don't have.
Yeah. Sadly, I
think very
can't
few
access
people do.
that part of my brain. Not evolved enough to human.
I'm not playing the game and like, all right, that's another new enemy. Let's jot that down.
Alright, this has been really fun, Skye. Thank you so much for joining
this
us.
has been a blast. Thank you.
But where can we find you? Because I know you're in lots of places. What's the best place people can find you?
Best place. I mean, the Patreon is where I chat the most. But if you're not interested in that, Twitter, I guess. Mind you, I don't really tweet that much. I post mostly on Instagram. I'm mostly active on Patreon, which is just patreon.com/Skye St. John Bennett. Is my full name and a mouthful. Thanks, Mum. Yeah.
That's great. Well, happy 2nd birthday to Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
Of course, check out Skye's music as well if you haven't already. And let us know what you guys think about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 down below in the comments. It's a great game. Skye, I'm just so happy to have you on because you made such a big impact on my experience in the game. I think you brought the entire experience to life with Pyra and Mithra. So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for the fun. Yeah.
Right. Catch you guys next time. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.